guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Over the weekend, some documents were released in the civil lawsuit from the Petito family versus the Laundrie family, which we know has been going on. It was supposed to go to trial this year, but it is not going to trial till May of 2024. According to the attorney for Gabby Petito's family, he is stating that Brian Laundrie's parents have admitted to what their son told them in the days after killing his 22-year-old fiancée in August of 2021. Now, these statements come during the depositions for the upcoming civil trial between the two families. Christopher and Roberta Laundrie stated in a frantic phone call on August 29th, 2021, 2 days after the day Petito was believed to be murdered, Brian informed them that Gabby was, quote, gone, unquote, and that he needed a lawyer, according to Petito family attorney Pat Riley. Now, Riley is making sure to state that Chris and Roberta did not admit to knowing that Gabby was killed, but only that they were told by Brian that she was gone. So, that kind of contradicts a lot of stuff, because remember, they stated they didn't know anything, and then that whole statement through Stephen Bertolino, the family attorney for the Laundries, came out stating that they hope she was found soon. Yeah. So that is definitely, to me, a problem. Unfortunately, doesn't look good for the Laundries. And as much as I personally have disliked them all this time, this really makes them out to be what I consider to be kind of conspirators in the whole thing, because they could have said something to Gabby's family. You know, they could have done something. They didn't have to state it, but they could have done it through their attorney easily. So we're going to look briefly through the documents that were just released. So this is the documents. It looks like there's 11 pages. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just kind of sift through here for you guys, and I'm going to link to the link if you want to read the entire documents. Again, this is coming out of Sarasota County, Florida. Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt versus Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie. And this is the third amended complaint. Come now, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt, by and through their undersigned counsel, and file within the third amended complaint against the defendants, Christopher Laundrie, Roberta Laundrie, and Stephen Bertolino, and in support thereof allege as follows. 1. This is an action for damages that exceed $30,000, exclusive of prejudgment interest, costs, and attorney's fees. 2. Venue is proper in Sarasota County, Florida, because the defendants, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, reside therein. 3. This court has jurisdiction over within the matter pursuant to Florida Statute 26.012. 4. The plaintiff, Joseph Petito, is a resident of Vero Beach, Florida, and is the father of Gabrielle Petito, deceased. 5. Plaintiff Nicole Schmidt is a resident of Seffner, check this, I don't know why that says that, Florida, and the mother of Gabrielle Petito, deceased. 6. Defendants Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie are residents of Northport, Florida, and are the parents of Brian Laundrie, deceased. 7. The defendant, Stephen Bertolino, is a resident of the state of New York and is a lawyer licensed to practice law in New York. This court has personal jurisdiction over him pursuant to Florida Statute 48.193, 1A2, and Florida Statute 48.193, 2. 8. At all times relevant to within the cause of action, Stephen Bertolino was acting as the agent for Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie when they resided in Florida. 9. Brian Laundrie and Gabrielle Petito became engaged to marry on or about July 2nd, 2020. 10. On July 2nd, 2021, Brian Laundrie and Gabrielle Petito left New York in a van owned by Gabrielle Petito to take a trip to the western United States, which was expected to last for several months. 11. Prior to the trip taken by Gabrielle Petito and Brian Laundrie, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt and Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie had a cordial relationship. 12. Gabrielle Petito had hopes of becoming a travel influencer, a van lifer, and document her cross-country travels on social media sites such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. 13. During the course of the aforementioned trip, Gabrielle Petito called her family almost daily, including her parents, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt, and her siblings. 14. The last communication that Gabrielle Petito had with Joseph Petito was on August 21st, 2021. 15. The last communication that Nicole Schmidt had with Gabrielle Petito was on August 27th, 2021. 16. It is believed that on August 27th, 2021, Brian Laundrie murdered Gabrielle Petito. The cause of her death was blunt force injuries to the head and neck with manual strangulation. 17. Gabrielle Petito was 22 years of age at the time of her death. 18. After Brian Laundrie murdered Gabrielle Petito, Brian Laundrie sent text messages back and forth between his cell phone and Gabrielle Petito's cell phone in an effort to hide the fact that she was deceased. 19. On August 27, 2021, it is believed that Brian Laundrie sent a text to Nicole Schmidt in which he referred to Gabrielle Petito's grandfather, Stan, by name. Gabrielle Petito never called her grandfather by his name. 20. On August 29, 2021, Brian Laundrie advised his parents, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, in a frantic telephone call that Gabby Petito was, quote, gone, unquote, and he needed a lawyer. On August 29, 2021, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie spoke with Stephen Bertolino, advising him that Gabrielle Petito was gone, that Brian Laundrie needed a lawyer, and sent him a retainer on September 2nd, 2021. That is quite telling, for sure. 21. On September 2nd, 2021, on behalf of Brian Laundrie, Stephen Bertolino entered into a fee agreement with Fleener Person, LLC, a criminal defense law firm located in Laramie, Wyoming, for purposes of representing Brian Laundrie. 22. Prior to the time the Fleener Pearson, LLC was retained, Stephen Bertolino contacted other attorneys in Wyoming to represent Brian Laundrie, including a public defender's office in the same county where Gabrielle Petito's body was ultimately discovered. 23. On August 30th, 2021, Brian Laundrie sent a text message from Gabrielle Petito's cell phone to Nicole Schmidt stating that there was no service in Yosemite Park in an effort to deceive Nicole Schmidt into believing that Gabrielle Petito was still alive. I still think that that is very disgusting on his part, but considering he just murdered his fiancée, guess nothing was too bold for him to do after that. 24. On September 1st, 2021, Brian Laundrie returned to the home of his parents, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, driving Gabrielle Petito's van. If that shouldn't have raised red flags, I don't know what. 25. After this point in time, there was no contact between Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt on the one hand and Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie on the other. 26. From September 10th, 2021, looks like they're waiting to check with the client, until September 19th, 2021, when Gabrielle Petito's remains were found at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Wyoming. Plaintiffs were extremely distraught and were attempting to locate Gabrielle Petito. 27. While Gabrielle Petito's family was suffering, the Laundrie family went on vacation to Fort DeSoto Park on September 6th through 7th, 2021. They went on vacation knowing that Brian Laundrie had murdered Gabrielle Petito. It is believed they knew where her body was located and further knew that Gabrielle Petito's parents were attempting to locate her. I find that disgusting. I find the actions of Christopher and Roberta just disgusting. I realize you want to protect your children, but no. They went so far, and it's horrible to me that they are not in jail at this point. And Brian, as we know, he was such a chicken shit that he decided to murder himself. He killed himself, commit, the yes word. So, if he was too chicken to face the consequences for what he did to Gabby. Period. 28. In an effort to avoid any contact with Nicole Schmidt on or about September 10th, 2021, Roberta Laundrie blocked Nicole Schmidt on her cellular phone, such as neither phone calls nor texts could be delivered, and she blocked her on Facebook. Yeah, that's what you do to someone who is the parents of your son's fiance and someone you allegedly cared about. I don't think so, Roberta. I think she's a very disgusting human being, and I think Christopher is as well, but I just believe that Roberta is probably the worst of the two. 29. On September 13th, 2021, the date Brian Laundrie left his house, according to a televised interview with Stephen Bertolino on or about October 23rd, 2021, Brian Laundrie was, quote, grieving, unquote. Yeah, he was grieving for himself. He wasn't grieving for Gabby. He was grieving because as soon as law enforcement found Gabby, guess what? He would be arrested. He was grieving for himself. He could care less about anybody else. As he learned from his parents, obviously. His parents don't give a crap about anybody else but themselves and obviously their son. According to the Cambridge English Dictionary, grieving is defined as feeling sad because someone had died. Well, I think he was crying for himself, though, more than anything. 30. On September 14th, 2021, with full knowledge that Gabrielle Petito had been murdered by Brian Laundrie, and it is believed that they knew the whereabouts of her body, Stephen Bertolino, on behalf of Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, issued the following statement. This is understandably an extremely difficult time for both the Petito family and the Laundrie family. It is our understanding that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. On the advice of counsel, the Laundrie family is remaining in the background. At this juncture, we'll have no further comment. That statement right there is, it's appalling. It's appalling. That line right there, that on behalf of the Laundrie family, is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that she's reunited with her family. Disgusting, Christopher and Roberta and Bertolino. Disgusting. The three of you are disgusting humans. Really. And yes, I understand that he's an attorney, and attorneys do awful things, but he should have done better. He should have done better, in my opinion. 31. For the Laundries and Stephen Bertolino to express their hope that Gabby Petito was located and reunited with her family at a time when they knew she had been murdered by Brian Laundrie was beyond outrageous. 100%, right on target. I completely agree with that. It's just horrible. It's disgusting. I mean, these people apparently have no heart. They have no soul. I mean, what kind of person does that? I don't know. 32. Stephen Bertolino, at the time he issued the September 14th, 2021 statement, was aware that Joseph Petito resided in Florida, and the statement was intended to reach Joseph Petito. 33. The September 14th, 2021 statement released by attorney Bertolino was intended to be disseminated nationwide and was broadcast in news reports in Florida and nationwide and was disseminated electronically into Florida. 34. The October 23rd, 2021 interview was conducted by a reporter with WABC Channel 7 in Sarasota. 35. At all times relevant to the within cause of action, Stephen Bertolino had sufficient minimal contact with the state of Florida and that he was acting as an agent for Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, who were residents of the state of Florida. And he released numerous other statements regarding Christopher Laundrie, Roberta Laundrie, and or Brian Laundrie to the national press and into Florida in particular. 36. At all times relevant to within the case of action, Stephen Bertolino engaged in subsequential and not isolated activity in the state of Florida, which was continuous and systematic. 37. On September 16, 2021, attorney Richard Stafford, on behalf of Gabrielle Petito's family, issued a letter to Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie as follows. We are writing this letter to ask you to help find our beautiful daughter. We understand you're going through a difficult time and your instinct is to protect your son is strong. We ask that you put yourself in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat and our lives are falling apart. We believe that you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us, as a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? As a parent, how can you put Gabby's younger brothers and sisters through this? Gabby lived with you for over a year. She was going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? You were both at Jim and Nicole's house. You were both so happy that Brian and Gabby got engaged and were planning to spend their lives together. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place. All we want is Gabby to come home. Please help us make that happen. 38. Despite the fact that the defendants knew Gabrielle Petito was deceased, knew where her body was located, and expressed their hope that Gabrielle Petito would be reunited with her family, Christopher Laundrie, Roberta Laundrie, and Stephen Bertolino refused to respond to either Joseph Petito or Nicole Schmidt. Yeah, so that's the basis. Again, we're about halfway through the document. We get the gist that this proved to us that Christopher and Roberta knew, and of course, Stephen Bertolino knew, the attorney. And the fact that he's in New York representing this disgusting family, and I believe he's a part of this whole disgusting, I don't know if cover-up's the right word, but just a bunch of lies. I mean, how can you do that? That statement that came from the Petito family's attorney is right on. How could Christopher and Roberta do this? How could they? Because they are heartless. And their actions or lack of action, that showed how heartless they truly were and are, in my opinion. They are heartless human beings, and and while you feel bad that, that their son decided to take his own life later on, it's hard to completely feel sorry for them because they could have changed things. They could have been more honest with Gabby's family. And they didn't have to give them all the information. But they also didn't have to have Bertolino come out with a statement that they hoped that she would be reunited with her family. Their silence and that disgusting statement that was put out, those to me are just like more hammering, it's like more torture for this family. And the fact that the depositions are showing that what we all knew, what we all suspected, but they knew and they didn't do a damn thing. They didn't do a damn thing. The Laundries did not truly care about Gabby. I think that's the bottom line in my opinion. If they truly cared about Gabby, they would have acted differently. I mean, they would have done something. Something. It's like their guilt just spoke through their silence. The bitter silence that they gave out was, we could all see it. They're so guilty, and the sad thing is, again, they could have changed the way things were. Obviously, they could not have prevented Gabby's death. But they could have prevented the further suffering of her family. I understand that they wanted to protect their son, but I think they owed it to Gabby's family to be more forthcoming. I really do think that they did. And it's sad that they didn't do that. Goes to show how heartless they truly are. Our favorite news daddy was on the other night, covering for Elizabeth Vargas. And of course, we all know he covered the Gabby Petito case extensively. He was there, and I remember he was outside the Laundry home for weeks. He spoke with the current attorney, Pat Riley, for Gabby's family.
Joining us now to lay it all out is Patrick Riley. He is the attorney for the Petito family. Pat, we appreciate you being here. You know, I thought I knew the ins and outs of this case, but, you know, my jaw dropped when this new information came out really over the weekend involving what you allege the Laundries knew and when they knew it. Basically saying that about 2 weeks before Gabby Petito was reported missing, that Brian Laundrie had made a phone call to his parents saying that Gabby was, quote, gone and that he needed a lawyer. How were you able to discover this, Pat?
Well, good evening, Brian. Thank you for the invitation this evening. The deposition of Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie was taken back in October, as well as attorney Stephen Bertolino. And during that deposition, for the first time, Christopher Laundrie disclosed that on August 29th of 2021, he received what he called a frantic telephone call from Brian, in which Brian disclosed to him that Gabby was gone and that he needed a lawyer. So that just confirmed what we had suspected going back almost 2 years.
So I'm thinking back to that time, Pat, and there is this search happening all over the country for Gabby Petito, an enormous amount of police resources all over the place. Everybody's looking for her. And according to this new information that you're presenting, the Laundries knew that she was gone. And I know this is now a civil trial, but I think a lot of people are watching this wondering, like, how is this not criminal if they didn't come forward with that information? I mean, were they allowed to withhold that?
Well, I'm not a criminal lawyer, but I know that attorney Bertolino has certainly taken the position that they had the right to remain silent. They don't have an obligation to disclose. So I don't know whether or not there are any possible criminal charges that could be brought against them at this point. But certainly in terms of the civil litigation, this is very big information for us.
Yeah.
See, I do wonder that as well. That's a great question that Brian asks. Again, he's not a criminal lawyer, as he said, but I mean, why weren't the parents charged? Why weren't they charged? Not only did they make Gabby's family suffer, but all these people were out there looking for Gabby. All these resources, law enforcement. To me, there should be some sort of criminal charges put against Christopher and Roberta Laundrie.
And the Laundries, again, this all came out as part of the new filing, collected a $25,000 retainer to pay a law firm in Wyoming. Yet at the same time, they were going public through their attorney at that time, releasing statements. There was one statement that said in part, on behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. That was September 14th. August 29th is when you're alleging that he was told she was gone, that they needed a lawyer. So are the statements really a big part of the case here? I mean, were they intentionally trying to mislead people, do you think?
Well, the statement certainly is the focal point of this particular case. It's really the only cause of action we could bring against Christopher and Roberta Laundrie. And the import of the statements is it supports our allegation that at the time that they made the statement, hoping that Gabby would be reunited with her family, which to most people, I believe would mean that she's going to be alive and it's going to be a happy reunion. At the time they made that particular statement, they knew that she was deceased, and they had known that for about 2 weeks and kept quiet for that 2 week period, despite the pleas from the family to help find her. And they chose to speak up and make that particular statement with knowledge that she was already deceased.
Are you surprised, Pat, that Chris and Roberta Laundrie were so forthcoming with this information? Because couldn't they have said, look, attorney-client privilege, we don't have to tell you what was going on behind the scenes in terms of us talking with lawyers and that kind of thing?
Well, it was an attorney-client privilege for what Brian told them. There's no privilege there. What they may have told Attorney Bertolino could have been privileged, but they waived the attorney-client privilege in terms of their relationship with Attorney Bertolino.
So how do things play out? I mean, I know there's a trial date set, the civil trial for next year. Is there any chance of a settlement? I would imagine, I mean, the Laundries don't want more information like this coming out. I mean, would you consider a settlement?
We would consider a settlement, but it would have to be under the right terms, and no one has proposed proper terms or right terms for the family at this particular point in time. But a settlement is always a possibility.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Mr. Riley, we'll continue to follow the case. Thank you for coming on.
Wow. See, I like that he said that it would be considering the circumstances. So, again, I don't believe that this has ever been about the money for Gabby's family. This is about getting the truth. I mean, any money they're going to get is going to go to the foundation, Gabby Petito Foundation. But I think that they want the truth of what truly happened to Gabby, which is what we all want to know. And it, again, is just disgusting that the Laundries felt that this was okay to keep their mouths shut for 2 weeks and let this family suffer, and to let law enforcement and searchers and basically the world, this country for sure, think that Gabby was missing. It's disgusting, and in my opinion, they really should be charged with something, but I don't know what that could be. I mean, if you're listening and you know if their criminal charges could be brought, I mean, let me know in the comments. I really wish there could be something brought against them, but we may, the FBI released all this stuff, and it may be sort of the end of it. Civil stuff may just be all we've got left. But yeah, it's a horrific. It was a whole horrific case to begin with, and it's just, even knowing the truth, it's not any better. It just brings more light to what truly happened. With Gabby and Brian on their road trip, their van life road trip, which should have been a good time, and it ended up totally horrific. But that's all I've got for this one, guys. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.